Welcome everyone to Marvel Hub. This is DK Dynamite, and today we're going to be talking about something that Mark Ruffalo actually confirmed in a recent interview that has to do with the Russo brothers filming 5 different endings for Avengers Endgame. So as we all know and as we all have joked about in the past, Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo are absolutely not receiving the full script to Avengers Endgame, and who knows who actually does receive the full script. I'm assuming at the very least Robert Downey Jr., Benedict Cumberbatch, maybe Chris Evans, but the way he kind of responded in that interview was that he didn't receive the full script either. So we don't actually know what's going to happen in the third act, but I could say based on recent leaks, based on recent rumors and the footage we've gotten, the first 2 acts of the film are almost nailed down in their entirety. So a lot of us have kind of compiled everything we could to get a better picture of what's actually going to be happening in the first half of the movie. But when it comes to the third act, we absolutely do not know a single thing about it, aside from some recent rumors that are pretty questionable at best. But in terms of what Mark Ruffalo said, he kind of joked around the idea that in one of the 5 endings that he had to shoot for Endgame, Captain America got married. So that's pretty funny considering that a lot of us are hoping that at the very end of the film, instead of killing off Cap, he'll then travel to the past, back to World War II, and live his life out with Peggy. But there is a flaw with that fan theory, and it's the fact that Peggy did get married and did obviously have kids after Cap actually passed away, or as she thought. So for them to do that would mean a couple of different things here. First off, Cap would go back to the past, live his life out with Peggy, which means Peggy and Howard Stark may not have created S.H.I.E.L.D. to begin with, so Howard Stark may have created it in a different way, under different circumstances, which obviously impacts the entire future of the MCU. Maybe Hydra doesn't plant worms in the creation of S.H.I.E.L.D. Peggy's family wouldn't exist, she wouldn't have gotten married, she wouldn't have had kids, Sharon Carter wouldn't have been born, so there are a lot of things that would have changed just if Cap lived in the past and lived his entire life out with Peggy. Now, it's definitely a happy ending to his character arc, but obviously retcons almost everything we know in the MCU right now. So unless he goes to a different timeline and lives his life out with Peggy in that way that doesn't affect the core timeline we all know and love in the MCU, then maybe it could be justified, but I'm sure the Russo brothers even thought twice about doing that as well. Maybe that is one of the fake endings that Mark Ruffalo actually shot and is based on one of the scripts that he received. Maybe that's it, but in terms of getting married, he either goes back to the past and gets married to Peggy, or maybe he somehow gets married for some strange reason to Sharon Carter in the present. But there's something about that that is kind of weird, because in the first look we got at Avengers Endgame, the very first trailer, Cap obviously looks at a little picture of Peggy, which means they're probably going to be going to the quantum realm, either traveling to World War II to retrieve the Tesseract, or are maybe going to the Battle of New York to retrieve just the Mind Stone. So we don't know how that's going to work out just yet with who's going where, who's collecting what stones, but if Cap is going to be seeing Peggy at any point throughout Endgame, then it does mean he's going to be going back to World War II to retrieve the Tesseract from the Red Skull, as opposed to retrieving the Tesseract from Loki in the Battle of New York. I'm assuming if they go to 2012, they may just be collecting the Mind Stone from Loki's scepter. So we just don't know the details of that just yet, but I'm gonna guess that if they're kind of hinting that Peggy will make an appearance, then they are going to be going to World War II at some point throughout the film. But it would be weird if there's this big heartfelt moment in Avengers Endgame where Cap is trying to sneak around in World War II, trying to sneak his way into the Red Skull's lab to retrieve the Tesseract, and all of a sudden accidentally bumps into Peggy, has to talk to her, has this deep moment with her, kisses her again or something. It would be weird to have that, and then all of a sudden the movie ends where he's just married to Sharon Carter. This doesn't make much sense. You know, it's like he's in love with Peggy and whatever, and then all of a sudden he's dating her niece and then gets married to her out of nowhere. But there was a little bit of chemistry with her in Winter Soldier, just a little bit, and there was a bit of a tease as to what could become of their relationship. But then all of a sudden in Civil War, they kind of just kicked things off a little bit, finally kissed, finally built that up a little bit. But in terms of if that'll be explored more in Avengers Endgame, it's definitely up for debate right now. But obviously Civil War is a Russo brothers movie, so if anybody knows how to handle the potential relationship with Sharon, it's definitely the Russos. They'll definitely either give closure to it, they'll either explain it in the movie, or some type of capacity within Avengers Endgame. But In terms of Cap getting married, the only way I can see that happening is if he goes back to the past and gets married to Peggy Carter. But if that doesn't happen, then I don't see Cap getting married at all in the present to Sharon Carter. But let me know what you think of that down below in the comments. But in terms of the other endings that the Russos may have shot for Avengers Endgame, obviously they may have shot endings where Tony died, Cap died, some other Avengers died. We have no idea what could have actually happened. But as Mark Ruffalo has said as well, in Infinity War, he actually shot a scene where he got dusted away. So it would be super weird if all of a sudden Endgame comes out and you have some of the OG6 missing or dusted away because of Infinity War. It would be a little weird to see that. So I'm definitely happy the Russos stuck with keeping the original 6 on top of adding War Machine, Captain Marvel, Rocket, Nebula, Ant-Man. I'm glad they did that because, once again, if you were to be missing half of the OGs, it just wouldn't feel like a good conclusion to a 22 film arc, the first 3 phases, of course. But besides that, I also wanted to go over the recent TV spot that released for Avengers Endgame. It included a couple of little bits of new footage that we haven't seen before, and essentially confirms that the Avengers will be splitting up into a couple of different teams throughout the film to go into the quantum realm and to collect the Infinity Stones from different time periods. Now, in terms of who's on what team, we don't know the details of that just yet, but this definitely confirms a recent leak that we actually made here on this channel, and it was that the Avengers will be splitting up into a couple of teams and going through the quantum realm. So it's definitely looking like some of the leaks we've reported on are somewhat spot on with the footage we're receiving, but keep in mind the footage we're receiving in these TV spots may not make it into the final film. They may be fake scenes, they may be just scenes to misdirect us, so we don't know the exact details on what leaks are 100% accurate, but based on the leaks we have reported on, every single one is coming true in terms of the first act, in terms of fighting Thanos at the beginning, in terms of the Avengers splitting up briefly throughout the middle of the film, and it makes more sense to split up in a couple of different teams as opposed to being one giant team and traveling to all these different time periods, making it more obvious that they're from the future. So definitely really excited for the big team up here in Avengers Endgame. And obviously, there'll be a fractured version of the Avengers in the first act, battling Thanos again, losing, and then they'll all come together to kind of regroup, go over their big plan with the quantum realm, split up, and then once they have all the stones and the Star Gauntlet, they'll then come back as one giant team. Using the Star Gauntlet, they'll then bring everybody back who was snapped away in Infinity War, and then there'll be this massive fight with every hero in the MCU fighting against Thanos. So definitely a really exciting thing to look forward to with an Avengers Endgame. And as we said before, we only want to cover the most reliable leaks, and we want to be the most reliable source when it comes to Marvel news and information. But this is DK Dynamite. Be sure to check all links down below in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe. Turn notifications on to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Marvel news and information. And peace out, everyone.
The work is done. I won. What I'm about to do, I'm gonna enjoy it. Very much.
Tickets on sale now.
Look at the world around you. Is it not more peaceful? Avengers. Let's finish this.
Avengers Endgame. Rated PG-13. Tickets on sale now. In 10 days.
We are getting the whole team, yeah?
I like this one.
Avengers Endgame. Rated PG-13. Tickets on sale now.
Heroes. It's an old-fashioned notion.
If we do this, we'd be going in short-handed.
Yeah, you mean because he killed all our friends?
We owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
It's not about how much we lost. It's about how much we have left. We're the Avengers. We gotta finish this. You trust me? I do. You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
on sale now.